this week, huge, record-breaking numbers in opioid cases against Big Pharma. On Monday, an Oklahoma judge fined the opioid maker Johnson & Johnson $572 million. Then on Tuesday, Purdue Pharma and its owners, the Sackler family, reportedly offered to settle more than 2,000 lawsuits against them for somewhere between $10 and $12 billion. It's a complicated settlement, if true, but that's what it seems to add up to. Beth Macy is a journalist who has covered the opioid crisis for years, writing in a recent op-ed, quote, "These are big numbers, but how can you put a price on the misery bottled, packaged, and sold by the pharmaceutical companies helping to fuel America's opioid epidemic?" Beth joins me now. She's also the author of Dope Sick, Dealers, Doctors, and the Drug Company That Addicted America. Beth, good to see you again. Thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
This came up the other day when I noted what large numbers these settlements were, and one of my producers said to me, let's add up how much of a disaster this has been, the opioid crisis, and the numbers are yet more staggering. So I guess my question is, when you add them all up, if there are more settlements and there are more judgments and we finally add it all up, it won't undo the deaths that we've seen and the destruction to communities, but are we looking at least dealing with numbers that might start to offset the disaster this has been?
We're just barely starting to get there. It's a little bit of progress, but we've lost 400,000 Americans.
Right. No price on that, yeah.
Economic cost of $78.5 billion a year. That's in lost productivity, healthcare, criminal justice. And, we had a judge in Oklahoma on Monday that said, your lies, Johnson & Johnson, your behavior caused the lives of thousands of Oklahomans, and you need to pay for the lies and deceptive marketing that helped lead us into this crisis.
But we're not getting full-throated admissions of that from these companies in any case. I mean, Johnson & Johnson said, we did not start this thing, we're not responsible for it. I don't know if that's what success looks like or more money.
The parents I've interviewed, and I've interviewed scores, hundreds of parents who have lost children to this, they want the truth to come out. They're tired of these settlements where the secrets get buried in the settlement clauses. I mean, many would like to see the Sacklers go to jail, for instance. They would certainly like to see them released of their assets, and that money gone to treatment that makes the medication for opioid use disorder, buprenorphine and methadone, as easy to get as it was to get opioids and illicit drugs like fentanyl and heroin.
Are we in a place where we have the technology or the ability to treat people who are addicted to opioids?
We know every addiction body, World Health Organization, CDC, knows that methadone, buprenorphine, naltrexone, these are medication-assisted treatments, or medicine, as one researcher corrected me. It's just like a diabetic taking insulin. We know that that if you're on those medicines, you're more than 60% likely to not relapse, not to overdose, and die. But we just don't make those medicines available to match the scale of the problem.
So this is where I'm leading. Is the money from settlements and judgments going to the right places? And I know that cities and states argue that the right places are sometimes their emergency services that have been stretched to the limit because of the opioid epidemic. Where is the money going to, and will it ultimately help reduce the epidemic?
Well, certainly if it's allocated properly. In the Oklahoma settlement, just shy of $300 million, we're going to go to treatment for that. We're not sure. We haven't seen all the details of the Purdue settlement. We know that one of they're suggesting that it become a public trust run by other people, no longer the Sackler family, and that this new board of directors and the people that the bankruptcy judge would then appoint would then be in charge of making sure. What we don't want to happen is what happened with a lot of the tobacco settlement money, much of which didn't go actually to the people on the ground being felt the most.
I get a lot of feedback from people on social media about the fear that they have as real pain patients for whom the creation of opioids was the one thing that kept them out of pain. And they're worried, they're saying already, their access to the opioids that they actually need, and many will point out we're not addicted, we're not addicts.
Absolutely.
And they feel that sometimes they're painted with a brush, that anybody who does take an opioid there's no view to whether or not it's legitimate that they should or shouldn't.
Right. So the pendulum started to swing,
Yep.
and a lot of times doctors are overreacting. They're cutting people off without giving them alternative treatments like medication-assisted treatment, or without weaning them down at the proper rate. Most doctors haven't been, they don't spend enough time in medical school teaching doctors how to deal with pain.
Right.
And that's part of
Why this happened,
crisis.
yeah.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.